Hello, welcome to our Friday Cryptic Crossword Masterclass, which today falls on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas in the UK. But the Times is still publishing puzzles. In fact, this being a bank holiday, they're publishing extra puzzles today with a jumbo cryptic and a jumbo concise, as well as the normal suite of three. So thank you to the Times, as always, for their wonderful puzzles. Now, I do not know who set today's puzzle, so maybe we'll put it in the description field if I've found out by the time this goes live. But I don't know as at the time of going to press, so I'm just going to be tackling it. I've got a couple of quick birthday shout-outs. One was for Leah's husband, Michael. Thank you for your email, Leah. Michael watches, well, together they watch not only Sudoku and crossword videos, but even the blueprint streams, and that's great. I mean, thank you for spending so much time in our company. Pleasure to have you with you. I know your birthday was just before Christmas, Michael, but that's great. But Tamsin wrote to us to say that it's her father's 62nd birthday today. He gets the whole family to try the crossword together at the dinner table. That's brilliant. Well done. Well done, Simon Hunt. Happy 62nd birthday. Your name is very amusing. You share a name, and I don't think you're the same person, but you share a name with one of the great Sudoku setters who features regularly on this channel. That's great news. So anyway, thank you, Tamsin, for your lovely email. Very happy birthday to Simon. And with that said, let's have a look at today's puzzle. I will talk you through the answers as best I can. Then maybe I'll go try a speed run on the quick cryptic. Okay, here we go. So I'm just checking you can see this all good. One across, cryptic method. So clue, giving little away. That's very clever. I mean, look at the phrasing of that. You know, it really is suitable for cracking the cryptic and a cryptic crossword. But when I see the word cryptic, I wonder about whether it could indicate an anagram of the words before or after it. Here it would obviously have to be after, and the three words after it have 12 letters between them. Method, so, clue. And that's how many we need for the answer. So I'm thinking we're going to anagram the letters of method, so, clue to come up with a phrase meaning giving little away. And I think that's close-mouthed. Should one pronounce that close-mouthed? I think close-mouthed, because close is a verb, and it would have to be closed-mouthed in that case. Anyway, there we go. That doesn't matter. That is the answer. It is an anagram of method, so, clue. And it gives us, getting one across is great, because it gives us all the downs. We can start, or the first letter of all the downs running off it. So let's have a look at two down, beginning with an L, 7 letters. Something you do to feed after due date. After due date, I mean, that could be reference to birth. It could, so a late baby, so could this begin with late? Something you do to feed. Do you do it to horse feed or something? I don't know the answer here, so feel free to score 1 to you if you can work out what that is. I'm going to move on to 3 down, and we'll come back to 2 down. 3 down is 9 letters beginning with S. Trapped by falls, start to swim, then leap. Now that's tricky because there's not a lot of wordplay going on there. I see start to swim, and I think of the letter S, and there it is in the check letter that we've got. But the implication of that might be that it's S, and then an 8-letter word for leap, and the whole thing means trapped by falls. Now I was wondering, I can't think of any answer for that. Oh, bound. Okay, bound is a word for leap. Yeah, this is good. Okay, we're onto something here. Bound is a word for leap, but it also feels like a past tense or a past participle. And that's good for trapped by something. So if I'm missing a 3-letter gap between S and bound, we can either try and think of the solution, which I think I've got, or notice that there's the word then, which might not be acting just as an indicator of order within the clue, but might actually have a 3-letter synonym. And if you say now something, that's equivalent to sort of the little interjection then something. So S now bound gives us snowbound, which is trapped by falls of snow. So that must be the answer there. And that came from sort of identifying a synonym for leap that was also a past tense for something else. Right, 4 down, low note, fiver perhaps. I mean, beautiful phrasing, because a fiver is the lowest possible British currency note. But we can ignore all the surface. We can think about the word low, which can obviously mean towards the bottom, either in sound registers or in physical height, but it can also be a verb, because a cow can low. The other way you describe what a cow does when it lows is it moos. So could we begin this answer with moo, and then have a note, and then the answer could be fiver perhaps. Fiver doesn't have a capital letter, so it can't be the rabbit in Watership Down. And I'm pretty sure I'm onto the right track, but I don't actually know what the answer is here. We need a 3-letter note. There's a lot of 2-letter notes and even a lot of 1-letter notes. The 3-letter note that comes to mind is sol, but mu-sol is not a word. Do, with an H. Oh, la can have an H. Moolah it's a slang word for money. Yeah, some of those 2-letter solfege notes can have a 3rd letter, like so can be sol, as in solfege. And I think, obviously, la can be with an H. And whatever the other one I said that can have an H on, do, I think can be D-O-H. Anyway, we got through that somehow. I'm going to carry on with these downs. 5 down has a U to begin an 8-letter word. Easy to see, runs wanted for 100 in ground. I mean, my goodness. Having caught up with the highlights of the test match overnight, I don't see anyone making 100 in the Melbourne cricket ground, but certainly nobody wearing the English Lions. But leaving aside the sadness of the Ashes series, let's look at this clue. So ground, I'm very suspicious about ground. We noticed earlier that bound can be a past tense of bind, basically. That's what snowbound is. The snow is binding you into the house. Ground can be a past tense of grind, and in that sense it's sometimes an anagram indicator. So 100 in is 9 letters long, and we only need 8 letters. But if we're wanting runs, which can be the letter R, then we could make an anagram of 100 in without the R to come up with a word that means easy to see, and that would be unhidden. So we're getting a picture in this puzzle of someone unhidden in the snowbound. 6 down could be house, maybe. Anyway, let's have a look. 6 down. Secondary schools, that boy's going round superficially goodish. Okay, I don't think we're looking for house here, but that boy could be used to mean he or him or, well, either of those. But that boy's could be his, and that would get us the S that we'll need in a plural if secondary schools is somehow the definition. Superficially goodish, I think we're looking at the exterior letters of goodish, the superficial letters, which are G and H. And if his is going around G and H, we get highs. And a secondary school in the UK can be referred to as a high sometimes. Normally in its name, if you had Rothermere High, that would mean Rothermere Secondary School or High School. So I don't know. I mean, that is the answer. I'm a little surprised that high can be defined as a secondary school. Let's have a look in the dictionary, in fact, just to check that. Here we go. So, high as a noun. That's down here. So, a high school, informal. So it's a bit of a slang term, but there we go. It does exist, it is real, and we can definitely use it. So I'm going to now shift the dictionary out of the way so we can see the clues. Right, 7 down, carrying on with these downs, 7 letters beginning with D. Soldier bore with American thug sharing a cell. Well, a very good sentence there, implying a couple of cellmates in a prison, but we can forget the surface meaning as always. Sharing a cell in this context is normally sharing a cell in the answer of the crossword. So we need bore with, or bore, sharing a cell with an American thug. And my way of getting to this is to try and think of a soldier in 7 letters beginning with D, because it looks like that is the definition. And I eventually thought in my mind just a moment ago of dragoon, and that works well because drag can be bore. If something is a bore, it's a terrible drag. An American thug can be, an American word for thug can be goon. I mean, that has made its way into British English as well, to be fair. And if drag and goon share a cell, you get dragoon. And now we've solved 5 of the downs coming off the top answer, and we've got a lot of crossing letters in the remaining, or in the top level of the acrosses. So let's have a look at 9 across. Something ending in O, something O. The only word that springs to mind immediately is diabolo, but I'm sure there are many others. High pipe, still cold, and loo out of order. Well, this is very easy to see that loo out of order is going to be OLO. So we've got high pipe, or high is the definition? Probably high pipe. Still cold, and loo out of order. I was thinking tremolo immediately as sort of a sound involving high sounds in music, but I don't think that works because still cold would have to be trem. And finally, I've thought of piccolo. I think a pipe can refer to a woodwind instrument, and the highest of those, or the highest pitched, is piccolo. A still can be a pic, as in a photograph, and then C for cold, an anagram of loo, and we have our piccolo, which is just a word I like saying. Right, 10 across. Pants take up entire laundry. Pants often used as an anagram indicator because pants has become slang for rubbish in the UK. Here, I don't think so, because I'm not seeing how anagramming anything in this clue is going to lead to anything I can fit in the grid. So let's forget that. Let's think about entire. That can mean all. But I'm not sure that I know any words that fit H something, G something, all. Hogball. So I don't know what the answer is here, and I've got almost all the letters. This is quite worrying. Laundry. Oh, that could be wash. If you put something in the laundry, you put it in the wash. So hogwash. I do know a word that fits. Right. Oh, it's a sort of phrase. If you take up the entire wash, you hog the wash. And pants is being used here to mean nonsense rather than rubbish, which is very slightly different. Hogwash being an old phrase for nonsense. Now, I mean, I love the fact that crosswords allow hogwash and pants to mean the same thing, even though pants would have to be said in this context by somebody under 40 and hogwash probably by somebody over 80. Good fun. Anyway, 11 across. Do leave a comment if someone you know under 80 says the word hogwash regularly. 11 across. Big shot reportedly put hole in ship's side. Well, this, with the letters in the clue, it looks like it ends in board. And there are words for the side of a ship. Broadside actually is not board, that's slightly different, but that is a volley of shots that comes from the side of a ship. However, larboard and starboard are words. And starboard is 9 letters, so that could be the ship's side here. So now I need to relate the wordplay to starboard. Big shot reportedly put hole in ship's side. Reportedly put hole. So if you bore a hole, to do it in the past tense is bored, and that put hole could be a past tense as much as a present. So the sound of bored is bored, except actually in very few accents of English, one of which is mine, where I've done this before. I then say bored and bored, and somebody writes, Mark's just said the same sound twice and he's expecting us to notice the difference. I hear a difference. Anyway, we'll see if that happens. So, big shot is a star. I suppose that's sort of just a Hollywood Tinseltown thing. The big shot in the movie is the star. A star in anything, doesn't even have to be a movie, is a big shot. Okay, 12 across. Rush to seize protester, munching sandwiches. Actually, the thing I find strange there is protester, which I would have spelled ER. I don't think this... No, it is going to be relevant to the clue. I'm going to look this up because I'm really intrigued by that. Can you spell protester with OR at the end in my dictionary? Let's find out now. I've noticed that it is going to be relevant to the clue. The clue wouldn't work if you couldn't spell protester this way. Protestor. Yeah, it's fine either way. Protester or protestor. Someone who protests. So I should stop my complaining and back off. I'm happy to do that. Right, so the reason that it matters whether it's ER or OR is because this is one of Simon's favourite types of clue, the hidden, where the answer is actually hidden in the phrase protester munching. You see, that is sandwiching storm, which if you rush to seize a castle, you storm it, for instance, or, well, anything military. Okay, shall we move on the acrosses? Might as well. 13 across. Where riders may be, introduced by heartless groom. Well, in crosswords, where riders may be on a horse is often just the word up. Now that would fit in the end of this clue. So if that was introduced by a 4-letter word for heartless, could we get a 6-letter word for groom ending in up? And you know, I think there is something, and I don't know what it is. If you titivate something or... I don't know. But I think I'm onto the right sort of parsing. Well done if you know the 6-letter word that ends in up there, meaning to groom. And there's a chance I'm on the wrong track, but I'm sticking with it until proven otherwise. Right, 14 across. Drop into New Delhi bar, opening in capital. I don't know what's happening there. We might be looking for a capital, and Helsinki would fit. And that's going to be right, because drop can be sink. So it's an anagram of Delhi, bar something, bar the D. Oh, bar its opening. Right, that's it. So New Delhi bar opening means an anagram of Delhi except for bar its opening. So New Delhi, and that gives you heli. You'd put drop into that, sink. The in is just a link word saying that is how capital is being made up. And the answer is Helsinki, the capital of Sweden. I beg your pardon, everybody Scandinavian, the capital of Finland, which I basically got because I was just trying to think of a capital that would fit with the E and the N. Okay, we're going to go back to the downs now. The 2 down that I couldn't get earlier, you may have done this. Something you do to feed after due date. Okay, I think this is lactate. And I think this is... I've got this wrong before. I think this is just a cryptic definition. So after due date was indeed referring to after a baby has been born. And the way that you feed a baby is one way, is breastfeeding. And the mother needs to lactate to do that. So I think that is the answer. If there is some cunning wordplay and that's an and lit, do let me know, because I can't see it. And my puzzle with that clue is, with a cryptic definition, they normally work in the way that they're allowed as a cryptic crossword clue, because the way that you read the clue first is not on the same subject as the answer. And I think what you're meant to do with this clue is to talk about, it was sort of cattle feed or something, and after due date means after its sell by date, and something that you do to it, like you would throw it away maybe after its sell by date, or treat it. That's how you're meant to have read this clue initially. But to be honest, for me, due date was very much associated with births, maybe because I am a father. Anyway, 8 down. Maybe open expensive wines, taking 1 aboard for Agnes. Wow, I don't know what's going on there. Maybe open expensive wines, taking 1 aboard for Agnes. So champagnes are expensive wines, and that would... Champagne has a number of slang terms, like shampoo, which I find quite an amusing shortening, as it were. But chamois? Who's Agnes? Taking 1 aboard for Agnes. Is Agnes just a generic Scotswoman? Or is it not even a Scottish name? I don't know. Maybe open expensive wines. Champignons would sort of... It wouldn't quite be long enough. There'd be mushrooms. Taking 1 aboard... Well, and it may also not... I don't know what the answer is here, and it's going to be very difficult. I'm going to have to get other letters and then think better of words that begin with this collection of blank H, blank M, blank I. No, I don't know. I'm going to move on to 9 down. Upright piano slipped. Tuner maybe coming in after dinner. After dinner question mark. Now these question marks can sometimes indicate we've got a pun going on here, or they can allow a definition by exception. So after dinner could be just a generic, after dinner question mark could be a generic after any meal. And I do know a slightly prolix word for that, which is postprandial, and that is a 12-letter word. So I'm going to think about this being postprandial. We could have an anagram of piano with something in it, and then tuner may be coming, or tuner maybe. I don't quite know what's going on. I do think the answer is postprandial. Oh, upright is post, as in a goal post. No, piano, we're not having an anagram. We're having P for piano, which is a musical abbreviation, piano. Slipped is ran, and the dial is a tuner on a radio, and that all goes together to make postprandial. It's often a challenge for compilers to make long words and not use anagrams, and it's been achieved so far in both the ones we've sold. Oh no, close mouth was an anagram. Postprandial is not, and well done, because that's quite well put together. I mean, it's a beautiful phrasing as well. Upright piano slipped, tuner may be coming after dinner. That is absolutely a natural sentence. Somebody's coming to fix the piano after dinner. Right, now, I'm not seeing how this... Oh, it does... there is a word that ends in up. It's a prenup. And it's nothing to do with the fact that it ends in up, and that's where... Oh no, it is. It's a brilliant and lit. Oh, this is one of the clues of the year. Oh, this is fantastic. Right. Let me explain this fully to you if you haven't seen why this is prenup. I am gobsmacked by this, blown away. This is brilliant. Right. We said where riders could be is up. And if that was introduced by a heartless word for groom, which might be preen. If you preen yourself, you groom yourself. You take out the middle letter, the heart of that, and you've got prenup, which is, of course, a prenuptial contract for a wedding. Now, I used all the words in the clue for the wordplay, and I'm going to use all the words in the clue again for the definition, because a prenup is where a heartless groom might introduce riders or legal clauses to well, I was going to say to cheat, but to constrain his bride in the event of a divorce. And that means that this is not only a definition in which almost none of the words, the whole clue is a definition for prenup, and the whole clue is wordplay for prenup, and almost none of the words function in the same way in the two versions, and that is absolutely beautiful. The groom is getting married in one version and is to groom in the other version. Heartless is cruel in one version, it means remove the centre in another version. Introduced means to bring into a legal contract in one version and to come before in the other version. And where riders even means horsemen in one version and legal clauses in the other. That is one of the best clues I have seen. Fantastic. And there we go. I've waxed lyrical about that, and I make no apology for doing so. 17 across. Chance I had to open Moliere's grave. Now, I've read that as grave, and that is not the correct cryptic reading. The correct cryptic reading is chance I had to open Moliere's grave. And Moliere's grave would be one of his accents. In fact, the accent that is actually in Moliere, that is the precision that has gone into this clue. I'm a big fan of Moliere. I had to study Moliere for my French A-level, and his verse and even his humour, I know it's centuries old, but very good. I'm a big fan. Anyway, if we use the word accent, and I had, which is I'd, ID, opens it, it gives us accident. And if something happens by chance, it happens by accident. Right, now we can't approach the grid through 8 down because I can't solve that. So I'm going to have to use these first letters. Let's try 22 across. Shift for one female prison officer without conflict. Well, for one is the phrase I'm focusing on here. You may not see it as a phrase in this clue because it looks like it's for one female prison officer. But for one can mean for example. And a shift is an example of a dress in one of its meanings. Now, how does that relate to a female prison officer without conflict? One word for a female prison officer, the female of warder, is wardress. And if you take the war or conflict out of that, you're left with the dress, which is the shift for one in this clue. Okay, I'm going to have a look at 25 across. Meaningless, like 1-3 by itself. That would be fairly meaningless, especially if it was in a corner. Meaningless, like 1-3 by itself. I don't know the answer to this. Meaningless is almost certainly the definition, because that's almost too long and too convoluted to be wordplay. Like could be as. Ah, yes, I've got it. That's why. Like is as. 1 is the letter I, the Roman numeral for 1. 3 by itself. Now, the word here is by. By can mean not only divided by, but also multiplied by. 3 by 3, i.e. 3 by itself, gives you 9, or 1, funnily enough. So, as 1, 9 gives us asinine, which means as stupid as a donkey, like an ass, and that can mean meaningless. Okay, let's have a look at the downs in the southwest corner. 16 down. Painter, perhaps, made an entrance out of sight. Right, well, how's your Latin? There are certain Latin phrases that have made their way into English. And in camera is one of those. It means in a chamber, literally, hidden out of sight of everybody else. Now, why is that painter perhaps made an entrance? And it's rather beautiful because the phrase in camera can deconstruct as in came RA, a Royal Academician, which is the Royal Academy of Artists, and an RA is a painter, therefore, in crosswords a lot. Or a painter perhaps in this case. Anyway, in came RA gives us in camera, out of sight. And that's a very nice construction. Worth noting for the future that in camera is also an anagram of Cinerama and American. Right, 18 down. King checks and changes roll of film. King checks and changes roll of film. Or a roll like that of film. I was thinking reel, but that doesn't seem to work. Is there a king that fits here? King is often K or R. King checks and changes. Check could mean to get in the way of, if we could put R into something, but that would be R going into and changes, or and changes roll. I don't know the answer here. King can be KR Rex, and also there are various kings like CR Charles Rex, or Carolus Rex, ER Edwardus Rex. But I don't know what's happening. Check can be CH from chess, but not checks. No, I don't know. I'm going to go on to 23 down. 10-second abridged Shakespeare. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. Yes, I do. One of the things you need to do when you see 10 written in a clue, or any number, is check the number in the grid. Right, 10 is up here, and the answer to 10 was hogwash. Could that possibly be relevant? Hogwash second abridged Shakespeare. Well, remember, second can be abbreviated to S. Shakespeare can be called William, or Will if abridged, Shakespeare. And that gives us S will is swill, which is hogwash, the stuff you feed to hogs. So that's the answer, and pretty convoluted. Very clever, actually. 10-second abridged Shakespeare. I'd love to see Shakespeare plays condensed into 10 seconds. It's probably been done. Right, 27 across. Creative exploring dreams, possibly making Radio 5 all ads. Well, let's check 5. That was unhidden. Might be relevant. I think what might be more relevant is that 5 can be a V in Latin, in Roman numerals. And that would give us Radio V all ads. That's 12 letters. That's how many we need. Possibly making could be an anagram indicator. So well done if you can make Radio V all ads into something that fits here, which I can. It's Salvador Dali. What has that got to do with the beginning of the clue? Because he was a creative, an artist, exploring dreams. The picture of the melting clocks has a title that is something to do with dreams. And I'm terrible at remembering Dali names, so you can write it under the grid. Oh, what is it? That's really going to annoy me now. It's something like the inescapability of dreams or something, isn't it? I can't remember. I don't know. But I believe that Salvador Dali did explore dreams. Anyway, it's the answer. It works with the anagram fodder. Oh my goodness, that's given me an S at the end of 18 down. I don't know what to do with that. Clerics would fit, and literally has nothing to do with the clue. King. Are we looking for a king here? Checks and changes. Roll of film. It can't be a dramatic role within a film, because role would be spelt differently. Credits. They roll at the end of a film. Okay, CR Carolus Rex, the current king, is what king means here. Checks and changes is edits. Oh, I found that very difficult. Well done if you got that ahead of me. The roll at the end of the film is the roll of credits, as in, well, and even at the beginning of some films. Anyway, 15 down. Van at this point drove too fast for Spooner. Right, the Reverend Spooner famously coined Spoonerisms, which were phrases where you swapped the initial sounds of both words. At this point, drove too fast. Here, sped. Let's change the beginnings of those and we get spearhead. Van, well, it's not the van that drives too fast, it's the front of an armed force, which is also the spearhead of it. 21 down ends in an O. That makes it a slightly rarer word. Plaster didn't come off, I'm surprised to hear. Right, there are a couple of words for plaster in art. Gesso and stucco. Stucco is 6 letters, so that would fit. And stuck, O, is didn't come off, I'm surprised, if you hear it. So that's what we've got here, stucco. 24 across, butcher at the farm, it follows. Beautiful phrasing again. I mean, I think there is a good chance this one is James McGaughey, but I don't know. Well, as I say, if I get the chance to find out who's created the puzzle, I'll leave it in the comments. This is an anagram of at the farm. You have to butcher those letters. And the aftermath follows. Actually, I believe aftermath was originally a term for mowing, possibly even on farms. And the math was the grass left behind, so the aftermath was after, oh no, math was mowing? I don't know. Anyway, the aftermath was left after mowing. But nowadays it's just anything that follows. Right, 26 across, get rich from tip put in mug. Let's just put lean to tip into cup and we clean up, we get rich. 20 down, channel or charnel perhaps. New French designer clothes, medium, beautiful phrasing. But I think this is channel, which is a medium, because it's N, and Chanel is clothing it. Coco Chanel is clothing the letter N to give channel. Now we have 19 across, act as a prisoner's guiding light. Well, if you act as a prisoner, you would, if you would act as a prisoner, you would be a convict. And a beacon is a guiding light. So we get that. And now we're going to have to find something in 8 down. Well, I can think of a word that fits this. Maybe open, now I understand that bit of the clue. Expensive wines, taking one aboard for Agnes. I don't understand the rest of that. Oh, goodness me. So maybe open. I think open as a noun is an example of what this clue is. Expensive wines, taking one aboard. I feel like aboard is on ship. But I don't know what Agnes is doing this. I've got champy to make championship, which could be the open, for instance. Maybe open. Expensive wines. What's going on here? I'm absolutely sure this is the right answer. I don't know where Agnes is getting into the clue. Oh, champagnes, removing Agnes. Oh, that's beautiful. So it is champagnes. I never managed to read Agnes as the last half of the word champagnes until now. And you put in I on ship, one on board, instead of the Ains bit of champagnes, and you get championship. This is a beautiful puzzle. It's such a privilege to be able to solve this for you and with you. And very well done if you got some of those ahead of me, as you may well have done. And if you spotted that Agnes was the last half of champagnes when I was waffling away about champagne earlier on, very well done there. You may well have got credits long before I did, and there's a chance you got lactate from that clue, and some of the others while I was talking you may have got there, so well done. But an absolute beauty of a puzzle today, very suitable for the festive season. I was going to go back. Oh, we should first of all hit submit and make sure I haven't actually made any official mistakes. Good news there. And then we should go back and have a go at the quick cryptic at some speed, just to see how fast we can do it. So let's go. Blank husband overwhelmed by ingenuity and energy. I don't know what that is. Wife, say, adopting twin daughters in marriage. Wedlock. Pretty sure that's right. Right, back to one across. I don't know. Blank white? Yes, wit and E. That's what it is. Sensitivity shown by angry Blairite. Irate? I don't know. Right, 12 across. Girl temporarily in Oz. That's Dorothy, surely. And there's an anagram of hot rod to go with the back of Sydney. Turbocharger components. This is an anagram of on lorries, etc. I don't know. We'll come back to that then. Taunting grown up about his banal logic, essentially. Ing. It is something. Ah, goodness me. Maybe wedlock was wrong. Is it wedding? Yeah, it is. Adopting twin daughters in. So this is jibing with a G. That's the sort of unusual spelling, I think. Sensitivity. This is irritableness. That's an anagram of Blairite in there. Okay, 3 down. Anagram of internet, and then nothing enter into, I suppose. Right, 10 across begins inter. That's not really helping. Turbocharger components. Oh, goodness, that's too scientific for me. Fishing tackles, fly line, brought up fish. May fly? I don't know. 16 across. Child on back by you. Second person. Second person. Right. First class male spy. Agent. 21 across. Oriental, Eastern, festival, Easter before N from November. Seal off Earth's mantle. Oh, that's very hard. Cape, is it? Cap E, I think. Not 100% sure, but I'm confident. Digital item is a toe, and the last letters are put to use. Inventor is Edison, E, Don, and is in it. Society medical officer. Smoking is the unhealthy habit, and the monarch here is a king. More straightforward. Executive chap, one getting more mature. This is a manager. 11 down. Stops announcement. Leaves off is the announcement of holiday cancellation. John initially rallies following loud defeat. It's floor for defeat, and Lou is the John. District inside NYC border. This must be Harlem. It is. Border is M there. Right, 6 down. Generalissimo anagram mostly. Excellent. Let's just try and spell it right. There we go. Intercoolers. I mean, I don't know that word, so that's difficult. 9 across. Tendon, that's sign, and W, sinew. Miserable, as is this clue. Down, double definition. Starts off Alexi Sale Show. Female insulated became weak. Flagged, F and lagged. So it's fly, fishing tackles, fine line, fly rod? Yeah, dory is the fish. It is. Right, that's the answer to that. That took me longer than most quick cryptics, but was still fairly quick. And somebody's beaten me. Oh, Melinda E, I don't know you, so I don't know if that's a genuine time, but not many people have had a go because it's fairly early in the morning on the day after Christmas. Anyway, thank you so much for watching our masterclass videos. If you do, thank you for bearing with me today. It'll be Simon next week, I believe, and that'll be the first one of the new year. So I wish you a happy new year if you're a crossword only follower, but do join us for some Sudoku later in the day if you watch that. Thank you for watching and bye for now.